So today we have the Tom Ford Black Diamond Eyeshadow Quad, and we have the new Guerlain Gold Skin Powder. I did pick it up in the transparent shade. I feel like if I'm going to use loose powder at all, I'm probably going to use it as a brightener, so I went with transparent instead of light. I also have a bunch of new releases that I have on my face already, or I'm going to be putting some more on. I'll tell you what those are in the description box below. So I do want to mention on my lips is the new Dior Holiday in Divine Plum. It's a very cool leaning shade, very much a plummy purple. It almost has like a little bit of a gray undertone. So I think on some people it's gonna wash you out, make you look a little, I don't think it's gonna look great. So make sure that you want something this plummy for your lips. Now, if you want to warm it up, you absolutely can, or you could put a, a deeper shade or a redder shade or a browner shade. You can do all of those things with it, but just be aware the shade itself is definitely a plum. It's purple. Before we get to the highlighter and the eyeshadow quad, which is going to be the meat of today's video, I do want to mention that really, when I started putting all these things together, I was thinking about formulas and why they have to keep changing the formulas. This might be a little bit of a salty Saturday. So the bronzer I have on is the Guerlain Bronzer from the Gucci collection. And of course, Guerlain has changed everything. Their meteorites, their lipstick cases, and even the bronzers are all like, each one is just like slightly different. This one is Marmot Sun. And it's a little bit different than the regular Guerlain bronzer. It has like a little bit more coolness to it. It's like a little more neutral, which I like more. So I'm glad they changed it because I like this one more. But I'm still like, you didn't really explain what the difference is between that one and just the regular one. The lip liner I'm using is the Tom Ford lip liner. This is in close-up. Tom Ford didn't have lip liners, but he had lip contours, which they got rid of because I guess nobody liked them. So then they just came up with these, which are fantastic. Again, I'm happy with that change, but like, okay. I'm wearing the Chanel, this is the Touch, which is a reinterpretation of the original Tint, which is like the little bubbles of foundation, because they needed a little bit more coverage. I think that's why they did it. So again, these are all, in my opinion, improvements, but I'm sure there's a lot of people who don't consider them to be improvements. Like, there's probably a lot of people who are like, why does Guerlain keep messing with the bronzer shades? I liked the old Tom Ford Contour 6, and Chanel, I don't use your new Touch product. I like the old one. I mean, so that's entirely possible. And then we get to the other things that I'm using today. So this is the Chanel blush. This is from the fall collection. This is Light and Berry. I'm going to use the berry shade. And we've had numerous conversations about, Chanel and their blushes. This blush is actually really good. I like it. I think they did a good job with the fall collection. I know not everybody was into the divination and the initiation eyeshadows, and that's fine. But, at least I feel like it was fun. Chanel was trying to do something a little bit different. I give them points for that. It might not be something that you necessarily like, but if I am going to criticize, which I do all the time, it's one of my purposes here, brands for, not changing. When they change, I should say something positive. But I'm still like, why did you change your blushes in the first place? I have a feeling it has to do with the whole clean beauty thing. I actually don't think it's a cost thing from Chanel. It could be, but I don't think that was it. I think it was a clean beauty thing. But their blushes still aren't as good as the old ones. They're good. Some of the newer ones have been really, really great, like the cream to powder, but still not as good as the old ones. Highlighter. So this is the Chanel highlighter. And this is from Holiday. And I wanted to bring it back out because I wanted to mention two things. One, you really do have to get through the overspray. I still think it's glittery. Me personally, it's not my favorite highlighter. I'm not suddenly going to be like, oh, this is my favorite highlight, because it's not. However, I think it's a good highlighter once you get through the overspray. So how do you get through the overspray? There's two ways to do this. I mean, there's many ways to do this. There's two ways that I do it. One, I take a microfiber towel and wipe off the top of it. That's one way. 2, you can do it with a brush or tissue. No matter how you do it, you're gonna make a mess because there's a bunch of glitter on top of this thing. You will get it all over yourself, you will get it all over something. But I still feel like it's a glittery highlighter. I just think it's not as glittery once you get the overspray. But you know, the thing about Chanel again, like how many Chanel highlighter formulas have we had? Like there's like 7 different kinds. And I was looking through my Chanel highlighters and I was like, okay, what is the difference between one Chanel highlighter and another? And honestly, I don't know. And I've been buying Chanel and I worked for Chanel, I don't know how long ago, a long time ago. But my point is, I can't really tell you like what the difference is in whether it's baked or whether one has like, you know, particular types of talc in it or whatever's in it, because none of the companies tell you. They just keep introducing new formulas and they're like, oh, this one is better. Is it? I don't know. Yes, this is my little rant. Okay, so in that continuation of formulas, right, we have the new Black Diamond Quad. Now, in the packaging, I think it looks great. This is, of course, the white packaging with the silver. This is the Tom Ford Soleil collection, Soleil Neige. It is 0.24 ounces and 7 grams and very expensive. It is black diamond. Then we have one from several years ago, or was it last year? I don't even know. It doesn't really matter. It's the Tom Ford Soleil, so it's the same collection, Soleil Neige, again, 0.24 ounces, 7 grams, so at least the sizes are the same. And this is the Lumiere La Hiver? No, wait. Dior. I think that's right. I'm probably getting it wrong, but you know what? I'm getting close. I'm getting better. How's that? And these are eerily similar. What I would say is the new one is cooler. The old one is warmer. So they're not exactly the same, but they are very similar. This is the old one. This is the warmer one. Here's the cooler one. I will swatch them for you side by side so you can see what they look like. The formula here is, I think, the same formula as the Lumiere Dior. I don't know though, because Tom Ford has not graced me with information. So I don't know if it's the same or not. I will say this, it is not the cream formula. So if you're looking particularly for the cream formula, this is not it. Is it the Metal Lust formula? No, it's not that formula either. And this is what I'm talking about, like when I'm going on and on here as I swatch this for you about formulas. Like it used to be in the old days, get off my lawn. In the old days, you know, if a brand changed something, even like a food brand, right? You know, something basic like that, there would be a big thing about it because everybody was, you know, very, like Coca-Cola. Here's one. When Coke went to New Coke, everybody hated, younger people have no idea what I'm talking about. When everyone went to New Coke, everyone hated it. They hated it. So basically, Coca-Cola was like, oh, that's a problem. Went back to Old Coke. Then they had New Coke and Old Coke for a while. And then they're like, okay, you know what? We're scrapping New Coke. No one likes it. Moving on. But the point is, everybody like knew they changed it. So that's the thing, right? Everybody was like, oh, we're changing this. We're calling it something different. No one liked it. So they went back to the old one. Now, I'm not suggesting that every brand, every single time they change an ingredient in a product, that they come out and say, you know, we changed an ingredient in a product. I'm just saying there are so many different formulas and the brands change them so often, and especially Tom Ford lately, that it's difficult to really know what you're getting or to understand why it's different. All right, so here's the old one. This is the Lumiere Dior, and here's the new one, Black Diamond. Can you see it's definitely a cooler color story? There is a difference. It is a different quad. Tom Ford did not make the exact same quad, which Tom Ford has done and just put in different packaging. No, this is a different quad. It's Black Diamond, but it is very similar. I think the difference on the eye, and if you want a side by side, I can do that in an upcoming video. I think the real difference on the eye is going to be dependent on how much you use this shade. So if you use a lot of this, it's going to look much deeper and much cooler because this is an almost gray, black, brown, whereas this is almost like a chocolate brown. So if you're using a lot of this, I think you're going to see a very big difference between the two looks. If you don't, I think the two looks are going to be very similar. So if you own the Lumiere Dior, well, I'll look at it on the eye, but honestly, I don't think it's going to be that different. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean don't pick it up. Maybe you love Lumiere Dior so much, and it was limited edition. I don't know if you could still get it. Sometimes these things are available at like the cosmetic store or something like that, but maybe you loved it so much that you want another one like it, but you want something a little bit cooler. That's fair. If that's the case, pick this one up and you'll really like it. Okay, so I'm gonna do, in honor of the holidays and trying to create something a little bit more impressive. How's that? I'm gonna take the very deep shade. I'm gonna blow it out though. I'm not gonna keep it. Super dark. And like I said, see how deep this shade is? And I didn't use very much of it, but if you're trying to keep the look much lighter, I'd use this just as liner. All right, so we've got that on. Don't worry, I'll clean up. I always do the outside of the eye last. I really should do my eye makeup first, but again, it's not how I do things, guys. It's not how I trained. So, but honestly, it is better to do your eye makeup first because then you don't have to clean up your under eye. But again, do as I say, not as I do. All right, now we're gonna take the other matte shade and use that one. So the formula in here is very powdery. You can see like almost the kick up on the brush when I go back and forth. If I pounced it, it wouldn't do that. It is a really silky, smooth formula. It goes on really well, but it's not like the creme formula where you don't get that kick up. It's more like a silky powder, which, you know, actually some people are going to really like more than the creme formula because this might work actually better on an oilier eyelid. A creme formula might be too emollient for some people. Now, if you notice, I'm putting this over the entire look. And the reason is you're going to get a very cool, almost purple look when you do that. So this is what I mean. Do you see how the pink, the light pink with that black grayish brown creates this almost purpley look on the eye? And these are two matte shades. You could just leave it like this. Or you could just use that pink shade as an all over shade. I think it actually is a good, cool toned base shade. If that's, yeah, the base shade. So you can use it just all over the eye and, you know, keep it very simple. But the look that I've now just created is almost purple because like I said, the deep shade has this grayish undertone and the cream shade in here is very pink, which is a little hard to tell in the swatch, but you can see it once you put it on the eye. So that is going to cool down anything else you do, which I think looks really nice, but I've gotten into cool tones lately. I don't know what happened to me, but doing too much makeup, that's what happens. All right, so we're gonna take this shade, which is a warmer shade, and also is, I'd say, you know, more of a satiny shade. And we're gonna put this into the crease, start building this up. Now again, if you wanted a warmer tone, I would use less of the two shades that I just used because they are very cool toned. This is gonna make it a little bit more neutral. Still cooler toned than the there, but it's warmer than the pink and warmer than the deep brown that's in here. It's a really nice shade, but it's just that it's gonna neutralize that. It's not gonna take away the purple, but what it's gonna do is make the look a little bit more neutral in totality. Okay, so now you have this look. This could be the end of it. You can put on some eyeliner and some mascara and be done. It's a relatively matte look. The brown shade, it's not really brown, that, you know, satin shade has satin. It has a bit of luminosity to it, but when you put it over the shades that were so creamy matte, were so powdery matte, you don't see too much of it. Once you take the shimmery shade and put it on top, that changes everything. So, again, use my finger. And this is where you get basically an entirely new eye look, which I do like about Dior and the Black Diamond. You can keep this as a very matte, very basic, elevated basic look. And the minute you put the top coat on, you have a whole different ballgame. So I think this is a great look. I do think the difference between this and the Lumiere Dior is the very deep shade that's very cool. Since I used a lot of it, I think you'll see that this is a deeper look and a cooler look. But again, will they look drastically different on the eye? I don't believe so. Again, if you want a video side by side, I will create one for you, so let me know. Let me put on some mascara and some liner. I'm gonna take this deep shade here and line my eyes with it. I'm not gonna use another liner because I am actually working on a liner video for you guys. There's so many liners that have come out lately that I wanna do a comparison, so I'm testing a whole bunch of things and they're all in like one place. So that's coming. So let me put on this as liner, mascara, and we'll come back and talk about the Guerlain powder versus the old Givenchy powder. Ta-da! I just used this shade as liner. That's all I did. Mascara. Sweet Beauty. Of course. So I think you can tell just by my body language, I really like the eye look. I think it's impactful. I think it's impressive. I think I'm going to wear it to something that I'm going to be doing this weekend. I love it. I think it's beautiful. Do I think it's drastically different than Dior? No, I don't. I'm like recalling what that looked like on the eye. It's a similar look. It's warmer, but it's very similar. I do think Tom Ford did a really good job with the formulas that he's done in the Soleil Neige collections. I think they are the same. Again, I don't know what that formula is, and I don't know how it differs than the creme formula and then the other formula. It's definitely different than the wet dry formula. I know that. That's all I got. Don't know like in what way it changes. But if you're looking for a beautiful holiday eyeshadow quad that has these sort of cool mattes and then a shimmer shade in it that's really going to make it look like sort of a wet shade, I think this is a beautiful choice. It's incredibly expensive. Tom Ford always has been, but there's many expensive collections this year. This would be a good one to pick. I think the formula is really good. I think the color story is good. I think it looks beautiful on the eye. It blends really well. Again, is it revolutionary? No. But as we know, non-revolutionary sells very well. So let's get to Guerlain. Now, the reason I picked this up is because you all asked me to. I was not going to buy this because I don't really use a lot of powder, guys. I am a dry-skinned girl, so I don't need a lot of powder. And I don't use it. However, I do own actually quite a bit of powder, mostly because of the channel, to be honest. But I tested this in store and I said that it did have a really nice finish. Skin-like, not matte, but like maybe like a soft matte with a little bit of luminosity. It says it's micro perfection loose powder, translucency and radiance, rejuvenating effect, infused with 24 karat gold and diamond powder. It is 1.2 ounces, 35 grams. This is shade 01 transparent. This is $100, basically, for this powder. Now, all I have to do is figure out how to get the sticker off on the inside. One moment. Sticker. I actually like taking stickers off. I don't know why, but I don't know, there's something about it that's it's nice. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Let's put it in the cap. This has a pinkish color story to it, which is why I've picked my old Givenchy powder. This is the Prisma Libre in number 12. And the Givenchy powder is now gone. The Prisma Libre line still exists, but they have changed the formula. And I would be I'd be overstating it to say that no one likes the new formula, but not many people like the new formula. How's that? So I picked that shade because it has some peaches and pinks in it. It's not going to be exactly the same. I'm trying to figure out the formula, not necessarily the color story, okay? So the color story won't be exactly the same, but it'll be close. So we're going to use the Guerlain first. I am going to overuse it. So nobody tell me like, you used too much powder. I know. So that you can see it. And then we'll blend it away. Okay, here we go. Definitely has a scent. Think of it as me baking my face. Again, I know there's too much powder on my face, but I think it's like a sandalwood violet, kind of. That's what I get. We're gonna go in with the other side with the Givenchy. Now again, gonna over too much powder. Baked my face. Okay, so I'm in a 10x mirror here, guys. Yeah, it's very, very similar in formula. Very similar in formula. They feel very similar too. Interesting. Okay, let me kind of brush it away just to kind of spread it out. Guerlain, Givenchy. I think this looks a little more perfected actually than this does. I'll have to wear it for a while to really know, but I can tell you by feeling it. Guerlain, Givenchy. Guerlain has a little less luminescence to it than the Givenchy. The Givenchy has a little more luminescence. Like it has a little bit more, not a lot, but a little bit more. The Guerlain did more of a blurring to me. It does come with powder puff, by the way. I just use my Amazon black powder puffs because I wanted to use the same one on each, each side. Well, I'll let you know how it wears, but at the moment, they feel very similar. There's no, the feel on the skin isn't any different. This feels, the Guerlain feels softer on my face. This has a softer finish when I touch my face. More to come, but that will give you I think a pretty good comparison. The best that I can do at the moment. Because again, it's hard with powders. You kind of have to let it, you have to try it out for a while. And I haven't had enough time with the Guerlain. The Givenchy I've been using for, quite some time, so I knew how well it worked. The Guerlain, the real test will be how well it stays and does it settle on the lines over a long period of time? Does it get cakey? I haven't noticed that it does, but again, I've only worn it, a couple of times. I'll find out more over the coming weeks as I wear it to like various events and stuff, but it does look really nice on the skin, guys. I will say, like, I'm looking at a 10x mirror and it looks pretty perfect, which is impressive because my skin is far from perfect. Okay, so other than my little rant about the fact that companies keep changing their formula, driving me absolutely just making me very unhappy. Other than that, the Tom Ford Black Diamond Eyeshadow Quad is lovely, good formula. It's basically Lumiere to there, but the cooler version. Worth picking up if you want to spend that kind of money. The Guerlain powder, this is transparent. I really do like it on the skin. I think it looks extremely good. It's a very nice formula. It's probably the closest I've felt to the old Givenchy, but I need more time to test it to say that definitively because it is $100 basically. So, before you invest in that, let me spend more time with it. If you want to spend, if you want to go buy it now, and I'm not saying don't, but I'm just saying I don't want you to be like, well, Jennifer said it was great, and then like a week from now I'm like, eh. So I need more time. And I am going to do, of course, wrap-ups and more comparisons between all of the holiday releases and the fall releases and everything else. But like I said, there's been so many changes to so many different formulas, and we have so many new things, new liners, new lip liners, eyeliners, blushes, highlighters, and it's really hard to tell what the differences are between all of these things. So if you have specific questions or you have specific products that you really loved and you want sort of a comparison of like what the new ones are compared to those, let me know so that I can put those in future videos. Like for this Guerlain Powder, I know the request was really, okay, compare it to Givenchy. It wasn't compare it to Dior or Suku, which I'll do, but it really was Givenchy because Givenchy changed their formula and no one's happy with the new one. So that kind of stuff, if you can let me know for like the Chanel holiday, Tom Ford holiday, Dior, you know, whatever it is, if there's old things you want to compare to, let me know because I probably have them. Wouldn't be surprised. So thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I really do appreciate it. I hope to see you in another video really soon. Bye.